I'd like to call the village board meeting for Tuesday, April 18th, 2017 to order with roll call, please.
Kraus.
Here.
McAlpine. Here. Kozler.
Here.
Cavelli. Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
The flag of the United States of America,
of the republic for which it
republic
stands,
for which it stands,
under
nation
God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice.
peace, justice for all.
Thank you. And I will entertain a motion to allow Dave Chapman to attend this via phone due to a family emergency.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move to the public forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I have one person that had signed in from Sign Effects. Did you have something to address the board on?
He's with the petitioner.
Oh, you're with the petitioner, okay.
I signed in for the other one, but I meant to sign in for this one before.
Sure.
My name is Jennifer Weinhammer. I'm at 502 Red Cypress Drive. I'm here to address the board with regard to the vote on granting $10,000 to a village business. While I am all for supporting our businesses here in Cary, I ask and urge you to stop and think about the process that is occurring tonight. Essentially, you will be voting on a grant that has no policy in place. The only stipulation is that you have to speak with Brian Simmons, the community director, and then it will be reviewed by the board. Other businesses are not aware of this because to find out about it, you have to ask about it. I was at a meeting last week planning our national night out. Typically, we have had the Flower Shop Bakery and Germano's Pizza there to be our vendors. I was told that both those businesses have since gone out of business. For this process to be fair to all businesses in Cary, you should postpone your vote tonight to allow a policy and procedure to be written and in place. This would essentially allow all businesses to be on a level field. I want you to remember this is not your personal money to spend. It belongs to all the taxpayers. It is important to be able to answer to them on why this decision was made so quickly and pushed through as it has been. From what I understand, the last board meeting was the first time the trustees have seen anything regarding this. All that I can ask is for you to be fair and wait to vote on this until the proper procedures and policies are in place.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the village board? Okay, we'll go ahead and close open forum. Moving to my report, I have a couple of proclamations. First being Earth Day. Whereas the global community now faces extraordinary challenges such as environmental degradation, climate change, food and water shortages, and global health issues, and whereas all people, regardless of age, gender, income, and geography, have a moral right to a healthy, sustainable environment. And whereas it is understood that the citizens of the global community must step forward and take action to create positive environmental change to combat the aforementioned global challenges, and whereas a sustainable environment can be achieved on the individual level through educational efforts, public policy, and consumer activism campaigns, and whereas it is necessary to broaden and diversify the environmental movement to achieve maximum success. Now, therefore, I, Mark Kaunick, Mayor of the Village of Cary, do hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2017 as Earth Day in the Village of Cary to support environmental initiatives in the Village of Cary and to encourage others to undertake similar actions, dated this 18th day of April 2017. And one more. For Arbor Day. Now, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-changing oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our village increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mark Countach, Mayor of the Village of Cary, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2017 as Arbor Day in the Village of Cary, dated this 18th day of April, 2017. Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items number 1 through 12. Was there anybody that wanted anything removed before we move forward with that? I do have one edit on number 6. There was a sentence strike for single source waiver of the building bidding requirements. This has been an existing.
The bidding is not required for this.
I wanted to pull number 8.
And I wanted to pull number 2.
Number 2.
Okay, let me go through this again. I will entertain, pardon me?
Go ahead.
What is Dave?
Dave, did you have something you wanted to remove?
No, thank you. No, it's good.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items number 1, 2 through 7, and 9 through 12.
3
So moved.
through 7.
No, 3
3 through 7.
I'm sorry, 3 through 7, I apologize,
That's okay.
and 9
I'll
through 12.
revise that motion.
Second.
Do you want a roll call on that or voice vote? Roll call, please.
Who seconded? Okay. Okay. McAlpine,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Cosler,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes,
Thank you. And I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the April 4th, 2017 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. Trustee Dudek, you had a comment on these?
I do. I would ask, however they were transcribed, that they should probably go back and listen to them again. I don't feel they're an accurate representation of the meeting that night.
Is there a specific area you're referring to, or is the entire?
I think the discussion regarding the Philip Horn issue and application is not properly represented. Multiple items within the conversation, not just one. So I guess I would ask that the taped minutes be looked at again and properly be reflected.
Is there something, I guess, that's within the minutes currently that you have issue with, or is it just adding more? Is there something missing?
I would add more. I don't think it's a fair representation of the conversation that was had. I don't know what else I need to say.
So do you want to table these till the next board meeting and bring them back? Would that be?
I think they should be corrected, yes. Not everybody watches the film, and if you read this, it's not a fair representation of what happened that evening.
We can bring them back.
Yeah, we'll take another shot at it to have staff go through the.
If that's what the board wants, we can go back to that.
That's fine.
I'll entertain a motion to table the minutes.
So moved.
so moved.
Second.
Ooh,
Roll call, please.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Chapman,
yes,
Cosler,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Dudek.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll bring those back. Now moving to number 8.
Yeah, I just asked for this to be pulled separately. I'd just like a separate vote on it. I was a little unhappy with the way it was handled last year. And just a carte blanche vote up or down in terms of giving out this kind of money to just different groups that happen to apply for it. Whereas there are certain events that I think are vital or important to the community. I didn't like giving money to the church. I didn't like giving money to the sports associations. Those are something that I think the park district should be handling. So I just wanted a separate vote on this.
And I can just state a couple comments. I mean, for this, This is just to authorize the release of the grant application process. Everyone's going to have to apply for it separately, and then we're going to review each application on its own merits.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I discussed with you too, Jake, is that just what the review process will be when it comes in.
Okay, roll call, please.
Kraus,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Cosler,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to items for separate action. I will entertain a motion to approve a resolution entering into an incentive agreement for State Farm Insurance and Financial Services in the amount not to exceed $10,000 for exterior improvements to the village, or to the building located at 109 through 111 West Main Street.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. Real briefly, this is an item that was discussed at the previous committee of the whole meeting. It was a recommendation discussed that evening to bring it before the village board for consideration this evening. State Farm, again, is requesting a participation for the facade improvement grant, maximum grant of up to $10,000 as they're performing over $20,000 worth of work to the existing building. Petitioners here this evening will be able to answer any additional questions you may have, as will staff as well, but the recommendation this evening is recommendation of approval for the proposed grant agreement.
Any questions, dialogue on this?
The only thing I want to say is that I was hoping we would just postpone this so we could develop some sort of application process. I looked at some other villages out there, and I see applications and also their specific parameters regarding the program. And I think when we're talking about a grant that's $10,000, we should have those things in place before we do a vote on $10,000. So I feel very strongly about that, and I would be in favor of us developing those guidelines.
I think in addition to the guidelines, I don't feel the village has that kind of money just to be doling out $10,000. I think we found out last summer that we had this money, the revolving account money that was given to us many years ago. We found out just last year that it was actually Village of Cary money that we can use now any way that we want. And I think we ought to be prudent in the way that we use that money. And we have a process set up now where we do have a loan program in place that I think we ought to be utilizing this money for the loan program, where the village could at least recoup the money and then also make a little bit of money on top of that, but then turn around and be able to use that money again to help out another business, as opposed to just handing out the money and then it's gone.
I agree with Trustee Kraus as far as the monies were originally put to the capital improvement fund, and now they're not. And so I said that in the last meeting, that I'm not in favor of spending this money in this manner, because that money was already put aside for that, those projects. So this will be a no for me.
I have a different comment. It's completely unrelated to approval. It's more accuracy. I'm in support of it. I was before. In no less than 5 times on page 1, do we talk about State Farm purchasing a building or State Farm seeking approval. Technically, that's not correct. We need to do a better job. The applicant here is, well, the owners of the real estate will be 111 West Main LLC. Okay, name of the business is State Farm. But the way this is written, if someone doesn't go into the details, they could conceivably think that State Farm is buying this building. I know that's not the case, but I think from a perception perspective, when one reads this, you might say, why are we giving $10,000 to State Farm? We are not. We're giving it to an independent businessman in the Village of Cary who's been here over 10 years. So we need to be more accurate on our applications in the future, I would suggest. And it's, Phil, this is not your issue, it's ours. I support it. I hope we move forward.
A couple comments that I have, and I appreciate where everyone is talking about maybe getting more detailed with what we need to do so that we have things presented a little bit more user-friendly and on our website and things of that nature. But one of the things that's very important is that we are always in competition with surrounding villages and cities, and I just quickly looked up and I saw Fox River Grove has a facade grant program, Crystal Lake has one, Barrington has one, Woodstock has one, Fox Lake has one. It seems to be a pretty standard type of thing that people are offering out there for businesses as an incentive for someone to competitively come here versus going to Crystal Lake or Barrington or Fox River Grove. In fact, Fox River Grove is up to $50,000, so I thought that's pretty darn high. With regards to this particular application, I'm looking at it as if we have a business applicant, someone that's been in our community that has grown their business and worked with our community development and applied for a program that we do currently have. So I think it's two separate issues. Number one is we have someone that in all fairness came here saying we have a program that's available for them to use as an incentive. And number two, the other side of it is, yes, we may need to relook at it. We may need to revisit and decide, should we be offering this or should we not be offering this? But to me, they're two separate issues. To say to a business owner that has gone through the process, already made the application, done everything that they were supposed to do for it, to pull the carpet from them underneath it, I just don't think that that's fair, that that's not a fair reflection on how we want to treat our businesses. We want to be very business friendly. We want to be able to help them grow. We've talked about that. And I just look at this as if we have to look at this based upon where it is now. And as it stands right now, we do have a program. We have not suspended that program. Perhaps we should suspend it after this if we want to relook at it. But right now, we have someone that came to us and in all fairness is looking for relief from us, coming to our board saying, I meet what the current program parameters are. And I think that we owe that business person to look at them as an individual and say, did they meet what's out there right now, in all fairness to them.
Trustee Chapman, do you have any comments?
No, I agree with everything everybody said.
I've had conversations or email conversations with Trustee Cavelli. I thought they've been very fruitful, trying to see both sides of these things. I look at this as the epitome of economic development. We have a business owner that has expanded his business, who has purchased a historical building. Not only did he buy the building outright, he is investing over $100,000 in interior improvements, and he's asking us for a little relief to help with the exterior. I think $10,000 to help with a historical building is money well spent. It's in the heart of our downtown. It will help resonate to other businesses that we have expectations and we would like to have businesses thrive in our downtown district. Not only that, not 3 or 4 months ago did we grant a facade improvement grant to 750 Cucina Bella that I believe was a unanimous vote by this board. So I don't know what has changed from that. And I agree. I've had in my conversations that or the emails that I've had with Trustee Cavelli, I think this is something that we need to take a step back at. But right now we have a business that's in queue. He's gone through the process. He's met with the department heads that he's supposed to. He's presented to the village board. And it is my understanding that we have an obligation to fulfill our commitments to what we've put out there. Moving forward after this, if we choose that we need to suspend this program and look for different viable opportunities, then that's what the new board will be charged with doing. And I'm all for that. You know, times are a little bit different right now. We're not as able to come up with the extra cash that we were before and over the last 4 years. But I think this is an opportunity for us to enhance our downtown. It's a gem in our community. People resonate with our downtown. They like to be part of it. It's a gathering spot for many different activities that were listed on the community grant thing, from Mary Carey to Cruise Night to the Fall Fest to various things that happen. I think it's going to add a lot of value to our community. Not only that, he's also incorporating new rental property within it to potential startup businesses, which will be bringing extra employees into the downtown. So I do support this.
I just want to say just one follow-up. you know, I just looked at the city of Crystal Lake. I mean, they're a very thriving community. They do very well. You mentioned Crystal Lake. I'm looking at their grant program, which is not to exceed $500 matching. It's a big difference from $10,000. And yet, again, they're doing very, very well for themselves. So I have no problem helping out businesses, looking at that, but I think if we recognize right now that we have a system that may have some cracks in it, that may have some flaws in it, that I just wish we would just slow down a moment and say, okay, let's revisit that, let's look at that, let's correct that, and then let's talk about this grant facade again for the State Farm or whoever the owner of the building is. So just so you know, I'm not against giving him some sort of relief or help or anything else. I'm just saying that if we recognize right now there's a flaw in the system, for us to just turn around and hand $10,000 over, I just don't think we're doing our due diligence.
Well, I understand that you talk about a flaw in the system, but it seems to have worked over the last 4 years when the different petitioners have come forward. I'm not aware of any business that has come before the board that's asked for relief that wasn't given due process. So, you know, it's out there, it's on our website. People can ask when they come and they talk to Brian Simmons or Jake Reif, somebody that they tell them about the programs
But
that we have.
as of 2 weeks ago, it wasn't on the website, and I don't know, I haven't looked since to see if it's on the website, but as of 2 weeks ago, when we first initially discussed this, it wasn't. And I just want the process to be fair. That's all I want. I just want the process to be fair, and that's all I have to say.
And I agree with Trustee Cavelli 100% that it's got to be fair, and I do believe it needs to be on our website. It needs to be very user-friendly out there so someone can just click on there and look at it like some of the other ones do. Just for clarifications, though, it's $5,000 for Crystal Lake. I have it right here. I printed it out.
It says 500.
Okay, either way, I'm just saying I printed it out and it shows 5,000, 50 up to 5,000. But either way, that's neither here nor there. The point I was trying to make is that we are competing with surrounding communities about trying to retain and garner businesses. So, and I'm happy to give this to you too. So,
I think there were businesses that were denied grant monies. I think that's a fact. And to present it any other way is not being truthful to the audience. That's
Can
a
you
fact.
tell us what businesses were denied a grant?
Yeah, the Cary Early Learning Center was denied grant monies. Also, Swiss Automation was denied grant monies.
I'm not aware
I'm
of
not
those
aware of
businesses.
those.
Let me answer this. I'm not aware of those businesses submitting applications.
Don't start with the application thing. That's like muddy in the water. All right, when you're told you can't apply, there's a difference. Okay, so when a business is told they can't apply, they won't apply. All right.
Then I am not aware of any businesses being told they cannot apply.
If I bring in a letter from the owners saying that they were told they couldn't apply,
Again, Jim, I'm not aware of it, but if you have information, you can certainly bring it to me.
I was on the
Brian,
board at the time.
you were there when we met with Swiss Automation. What was the result of that?
We gave them a copy of the application. We gave them the information that they would have to submit. I contacted them after we had the conversation. They never submitted an application. They were given the information.
All right. Mhm.
But there's no application for this, correct?
Well, there were no submittals that were received by the Village of Cary. So, I mean, I understand the application, and certainly we have to look at our processes here, and that's something that the village board agrees on, that we need to look at this process. And, you know, I'm not trying to argue here, but again, I wasn't aware of it. You know, if there's something that I don't know about, you know, please do let me know. But we do need to correct this. I would say for this, you know, let's look at this on its own merits here, whatever the business name is. I mean, they were through the process, they applied here, and I think it's time for the board to make a decision on this.
Roll call, please.
I have one thing left to say. I was wondering if Mr. Horn is going to apologize to Trustee Cavelli for his statements at the last meeting. There was still no apology.
If you'd like to come up.
Hi, Phil Horn, and I know you guys all know the story. I never meant for this to be such a big lightning rod. I just bought an old building that was vacant for over a year and was run down, and I'm looking to fix it up and bring my thriving business into it. I was well aware of a grant program throughout my years of research, and I bought this building with the expectation of qualifying for this based on all my prior discussions with the village staff. And to answer your question directly, I'm a local business owner, and I'm sure most of you try to present yourselves as being business friendly. And last time I was here, I was ridiculed personally for whom I like and don't like on Facebook by someone I have never met in my entire life. And if you call treating a local business owner like that, who's applying for a grant that's put up by your village, if you think I'm going to apologize for that, I think that you need to think about and apologize to me, because I feel that I was mistreated, and I think that that's a false expectation.
Here, here.
I
you stand by your
genuinely
comments.
appreciate this opportunity.
You stand by
I
your
look
comments
forward.
that trustee Cavelli
I
slandered
think,
you?
you know what, I think we're gonna go ahead and, yeah, I have another resident that wants to speak, but this is getting away from being productive here. Did you have a comment that you wanted to make?
Gina Bacala, 510 Red Cypress Drive. Why the rush? Why is everybody trying to push it through when there's so much conflict about it? I don't understand that.
I don't think that there's a rush. He's been in the system since November, December. He's been
So
talking
what
about
would
this,
it
and
hurt
we're
to put
already
it
in
off?
April. Pardon me?
What would it hurt to put it off to the next meeting until you get the things cleared up that needs to be cleared up?
Well, he's on a construction schedule too. I mean, it shouldn't take us 4 or 5 months to come up with a decision on something like this.
But there's
Yeah.
too much conflict in it. It's
Well,
not being
look where
fairly
the
put
conflict is
across.
being created. There was no conflict before it was brought up, and they just wanted to start a problem. And this program
There
works
was
good,
a
and it's time to
conflict
move
on the
ahead.
last meeting. I watched the video.
I think that there was differences of opinion on this. It wasn't meant to be a conflict of anything, and this has been in the system for a while. As a matter of fact, I believe Phil Horn has been talking with staff for the last year about this potential opportunity before he pulled the trigger to purchase the building. When he finally made the decision to purchase the building, that's when the process went through.
But there has been no obligation given at this point, so there is no obligation to him at this point. Why not clear everything up before just voting on it?
Thank you.
It is clear.
Roll call, please.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
Cavelli,
No.
Chapman,
Yes.
Cosler,
No.
Kraus,
No.
Count
Yes. Thank you very much. Moving on to the next order of business, I will entertain a motion to approve an ordinance issuing a Class J liquor license to RSB Wine Bar Incorporated, doing business as Bella's Bistro Market for the property located at 632 Northwest Highway, Cary, Illinois.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. The request this evening is for a proposed business that's seeking to locate in the Cary Square Shopping Center. They're proposing to occupy the vacant storefront, which Sports Clips used to be within before they moved further west in the shopping center. As proposed, it would be an Italian market concept, would have both retail and dining services provided within the establishment. They're seeking approval of a Class J license, liquor license, which would allow for both consumption of alcohol on the premise and off the premise for retail sales. Currently, the village has 2 other licenses of that type that we've issued. One is for the Prime Markets downtown, and the second one was recently issued by the village board, or approved by the village board for Kojak's relocation. As part of their application that we required, if the board does approve the additional license for the village, they would be required to meet the insurance requirements and other requirements regarded for the license prior to its issuance. Staff is recommending approval of the request for a liquor license this evening. Represented for the petitioners here as well to discuss the proposal concept. They also are asking for a gaming license associated with the establishment, which is the next item on the agenda. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding the liquor license, but we can also have the petitioner come forward, represent from the petitioner, and provide additional information on the business model from that standpoint.
Okay.
Brian, I have a question for you.
Yes.
The Class J, it says that we have 3 licenses in the packet.
The
Does it mean that
ordinance-
we have 2 out there now and we have 1 more to give out, or does this 3 include this one? assuming
The
that it's
ordinance
given?
would increase it to 3. We've already recently just approved a second license for Kojaks. This would be the 3rd license of this type if it were to be approved this evening.
Okay, so
there's
there's
only-
not a
there's
set
one-
limit. I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody else comes before us, we can award
Correct.
another
Any-
Class J license.
Yeah, technically under our ordinance, any license that is issued, the village board would approve the number of licenses that are in the community. So whenever a license request comes forward, the board would approve an ordinance that would increase the number of licenses within the community of that type. So the ordinance should always reflect how many licenses of each type we have in existence in the community.
Okay. Thank you.
If the petitioner would like to come forward, please.
Hi, Robert Friedman, Jameson Commercial Real Estate. On behalf of Rocky Bala, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, the family's in the gas station business as well, and there's a convention out of town, so he's asked me to speak on his behalf. So Bella's Bistro and Market is really, that's what it is. It's a market with fresh cut meats, cheeses, olives, olive oil. It's a place where people can congregate. There's going to be a piano player one night, a guitar player another, and it's really, if you've been to either Cooper's Hawk or you've been to Italy downtown, that's the kind of place it's going to be. When this center was purchased back in 2008, it was at the top of the market. In order to help cover rent expenses and real estate taxes and common area maintenance, we've asked that the gaming be allowed in this as a way to help satisfy the rental commitments. But if you look at the drawing, first of all, any gaming that would take place was roped off. You have to be 21 or over, and that's not really what it is. It's just to help supplement. But having the market there that will help cater to the customer that's not coming there because of Starbucks, which is a higher priced venue, I think would be a tremendous addition to the shopping center and to Northwest Highway.
Is there, Robert, can you walk the village board through what they're seeing here on the exhibit? Of tables, is that counter space? Is there a kitchen at all? Just kind of describe what's going to be going on
Right,
in
there
this
will be
business.
a prep area. You want me to walk to the board?
Yeah, if you would, please, thanks.
There'll be a prep area in the back, which you don't see here. There'll be stools here, and these are the market with bottles of wine. Battaglia is one of the largest distributors of Italian wines in the city, and the family has been involved with that company for many years, so their buying power is greater than just about anybody's. So we're not talking about, Boone's Farm in a paper bag. We're talking about fine wines. There'll be tastings. There'll be music at night. There'll be ways to help generate more retail sales. And that's what everybody's looking for today, where other people that have tried to do this venue, maybe 13% of their business is in retail sales, which doesn't help the village at all. So tables, chairs, market, and then the preparation of sandwiches and salads, either to go or to eat there, is all part of. Does everybody have this?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got additional copies if you need it. So if you've been to some of those other places that I mentioned earlier, those are the kinds of things that we want to do. And then I've got the vacant former Dunkin' Donuts next door. This will help lease that space as well, because when you see the traffic and it's all adult traffic, you're going to see, something happen with that corner. I wish it would have happened already, but something will happen with that corner. So this just brings everything together. We opened up the nail salon 6 or 8 months ago. and the bread basket is doing well. Domino's just renewed their lease another 15 years. So we need consistency, we need stability. Otherwise, you would have this constant turnover of tenants, and that's not good for anybody. There's too much downtime, and in that downtime, you lose sales and sales tax.
Will there be lunch meat counters or like,
Yes.
like a,
Right, you can,
Some
you know,
deli,
deli
deli,
with
say
salamis
slicer.
and cheeses and breads. So that's really what it is. And when you have that kind of business, you're gonna have a more seasoned employee that they will hire from the community.
is this contingent upon the gaming license?
It would be, yes, only from the standpoint of what I mentioned earlier.
So where would, if it's a big deli push, where would, are you expecting people to come in and buy lunch meat?
Yes.
I mean, I'm just, so where would that be displayed?
Within here,
Yeah,
this counter probably right here, if I'm not mistaken. This is a glass, curved glass. So that's either gonna be the dessert or, these are the registers. The prep area is in the back, and then they bring out to the tables. So the exact formation of where that's gonna occur, we can get you, you know, when,
I was just curious.
right, when they submit plans for building. But all this is all wine, and then shelves for bottled things like olive oil, and other condiments that you would see normally in the market.
What do you see the primary source of income for this operation?
On the retail side.
The wine and the
Right.
oils and the
You can sell it by
olives?
the bottle, you can sell it to go, you can sell flights, and so on there. And the access to the gaming part is in the back where it's not exposed. You have to be 21 or older to get in, and you've noticed, you know, the traffic that, you have about 3 places now that have gaming. More than that?
No, we've got more than that.
More than that.
But the look of this is gonna be just sensational. And nobody can do what we're doing and combine both of them. And that's the advantage that you have. Because you're bringing something else to the market that's not here. You may have to go down to Barrington in order to get things of this nature, or even further north, further west in Crystal Lake. But for Perry to have this, along with what we've done so far in the shopping center, I think is an attribute. Far better than the vacant building that's been sitting out there in the parking lot that you won't do anything with, you know, with the pylon sign missing on it, so. Everything that we're doing is to benefit, you know, obviously the owners. Gaming is a viable business today, and he's a businessman, so this is why he wants to take advantage of it before somebody else does.
Could I have you come back up to the microphone so we can be recording this, please? Thanks. Thanks, Jim.
Are there any of these Bella's Bistros anywhere else?
I'm sorry?
Are there anywhere else, any other cities? that
Yes,
they're located?
we're open in Summit, Illinois, which is I-55 and Harlem, pretty far southwest from here. And we have other opportunities that we're in lease negotiations with. Plus, they're experienced retailers, they're experienced business people, and you don't want somebody, you know, taking this as a hobby out of their basement and trying it for the first time. So that's also an advantage that you have.
Did you say, Robert, and I may have missed it, is there a kitchen operation or just, is it prep?
Mostly kitchen. There's not, I don't believe there's a grill. It's just all sliced meats, sliced cheeses. So there'll be, you know, the typical 3-compartment sinks and things of that nature, but there's not going to be a hood like you would see at Kojak's.
So this is very similar to the operation of Tapas Culpe and Orchard Meats. They sell the very similar types of products.
Downtown?
Downtown Cary.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Mayor, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
One, Adam, is for you. The liquor license application that we use, is that standard for the state of Illinois, or does the village of Cary create their own?
The state has their own for the state license, and the village has autonomy to create its own application, provided it collects enough information to make a decision that complies with state law. But the form of the application itself is a local creation.
I find it interesting that we ask a lot of eligibility questions, but we don't ask, have you ever operated a business like this? So I don't know if the state or some federal law prohibits us from doing that, but that seems like a giant miss to me.
The law only allows us to, well, we're allowed to ask if they've done it before, but we're only allowed to turn them down if they have had a license suspended or revoked. That's one of the disqualifying factors under the statute.
And you can kind of see that in the questions, but I think when you're considering a new business that handles alcohol in a shopping center, for a concept to me that seems much like a Doty's, which we've pushed away like the plague from this town, I guess I'd like to know if the owners have had that experience. This is, to me, this is nothing that I think belongs in the shopping center, nothing that belongs in the village of Cary. I won't support it, but I had to ask the questions about the application.
My concerns are that, at least the stance that the board has taken in the past is, we try to look at a business that's fully functioning, a restaurant, for example, and have gaming as an enhancement to that business that's already successful. My concern with you needing this to make it successful is that business model, and as Trustee Judick said, does it really belong in a shopping center? So I think that, at least from my experience, and it's only been 2 years here on the board, but that's kind of the approach that the board, that the guidance that we had was looking at businesses and making sure that they were viable and standalone on their own, not having gaming be their source to make them profitable. So that's my concern with this.
Right, it's to help supplement the business, and the business is a viable business and it's been offered for people that get approved for gaming.
Right.
Being in a shopping center where there's free parking, there's Ace Hardware, there's Jewel, Osco, you know, these are the kinds of places that adults shop at. And you have the opportunity here to capture that customer. When they go to the post office, the ones that work in the office complex, kind of down the hill there. So that's what, when I've merchandised shopping centers before, you try and cater to as many different groups as possible. And this helps do that. You want to go where the money can be spent, where it's disposable.
Right. I just look at this as if it's not a full-service restaurant at all. I don't see that it is. I see that it's more like microwave or small oven. It doesn't seem like something that's being prepared there. Or maybe I'm missing it.
It's a market, it's not a restaurant.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I
Right,
guess that's
so-
my concern, is typically we've said that we're gonna do gaming in conjunction with the restaurant that was serving food. Even Tapas Kelpe, they do serve full meals. You know, they have a stove and a grill and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And I'm concerned with that being lacking here, that this is more of a gambling venue that you're just gonna offer some other things with it. And maybe I'm wrong, that's why
No,
I'm
it's
trying to
the
get
opposite. It's
clarification.
really the opposite.
Okay.
I wish there was a way I can convey that better, but it's
Okay.
really the opposite.
There is, pull your application for the gaming license and just come in as a restaurant. That's the way you can do it. But you have it contingent upon getting the gaming license. That doesn't, to me, speak to the interest of the owners or the community. So I think you contradict yourself by what you said. That's my opinion.
Are you saying you need, in order to get a gaming license? you need a
Every
full-service
gaming license
restaurant?
we've approved since I've been on the boards for an existing business. You suggest that you won't apply for the business license unless you have the gaming license. Then you ask the question, what can you do? I says, pull the gaming license, request open as a business, see if it goes.
Didn't we approve Cucina Rustica?
Yes.
That's true. Those people have restaurant experience.
The board's policy, Robert, is, you know, it's been stated here, is that generally for these types of uses, for the new businesses, there's got to be a full restaurant, you know, associated with it. That's been the board's policy.
Okay. I was under the impression that it just had to be greater than 50% of the sales of the unit has to be through food. which we're capable of doing. So,
I'll throw my, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. I find it a stretch and a reach, and we talked about the slippery slope with the existing business, the cigar vendor, the smoke shop there, and adding the wine, which was good, but I still couldn't go to adding a gaming machines license for that business in that shopping center, and I still can't now. We've got an excellent deli in town that sells olive oil and all those things that we're talking about for another thing. I'd love to see, another deli over there compete with, Jewel, if that was what it was going to be, but I'm not going to vote in favor of a gaming license for the new establishment.
What did Breaking Bread say about this? Did you talk to them as an existing tenant about this would be competing with them, a direct competition with them?
we've been very careful not to bring in a direct competitor such as a Jimmy John's. You already have Subway in there. But this being where the bottled wine is a big part of the purchase, the sliced Italian sandwiches and things of that nature is a little bit different than what they do. Most of theirs is more comfort food, I would think.
But their main purpose for their business is selling sandwiches for lunch.
Sandwiches and soups, correct, right. Well, so does, Jewel Osco, and so does Subway, and so does McDonald's, and, people from Crystal Lake may not come all the way to downtown Cary to find these items. Here they'd be intercepted before they get there. Or they'd have an opportunity to get those items that they might not come down to downtown Cary for. So you're saying you would rather see a full-service restaurant in place first and then add?
That's typically what the board has decided in the past, that they would like to see like we did with 750 Cucina Rustica. In order for them to get their gaming license, they brought in a full-service restaurant. We granted a gaming license for an existing restaurant, Kojak's, when they are tripling their space and their presence and offering new types of a venue for families to congregate at their location. That's been an existing business for 25 years.
Right.
Is there any other questions for the petitioner here? I just have an observation. When we first got the packet and I looked at this, this isn't really anything like what you're marketing this to us, but your floor plan doesn't really indicate that this looks more like a market where you've got fruits and vegetables and that type of things. Looks like there's large dairy cases and that type of things for the cheeses. You don't see this here. You see racks of wine and maybe a 4-foot or 6-foot stance of shelves for other types of products. Well, I guess what the board has done in the past is that we want to make sure that it's a viable, sustainable business, and we're getting what the board has approved in the past, and what we've approved in the past is full-service restaurants. That's what they have liked to see. That could change. I don't know. I haven't heard from some of the other trustees.
Does full service mean waitresses and waiters, or just the fact that it has a grill in the back?
I think it's a little bit of both, because Kojak's, they will be bringing things to people's table, but it's maybe you go up to their counter and you order their food and you bring it back.
Right. So what would be the difference here if they went up to the counter and ordered a sandwich and a salad and a glass of wine and brought it to the table?
That's what I'm asking, but you've shown us this marketing plan, or this marketing piece here, and it doesn't look anything like what you're presenting to us here.
Well, schematics are always going to be a little bit different than reality. I mean, we didn't invest all the dollars in architectural fees to develop that. The concept is what's important.
Now, to me, it's a Lolly's or a Dottie's. It's a gaming cafe that has meat that's brought over from Sam's Club and everyday cheese and bread, and you have the stuff there, but it's not a restaurant.
I don't mind this concept. I don't think it's bad. However, I think I'd be interested to hear from the people who are going to be running the business, only because some of the questions you're not able to fully answer, so we may get some more answers to the questions hearing from them, and that would maybe give you time to go back and talk to them about some of the concerns that were brought up with the board. So I'd like to maybe postpone this.
Before we vote?
I actually like maybe a field trip and see what their existing store looks like. You know, we did that before when Stella's and Dottie's approached the board, and that was pretty much unanimously denied. But we took a road trip, we looked at the operation, we saw is that something that would fit into what we see the village of Cary can tolerate. And it was voted down, but I'd be more than willing to take a look at what it is and see what their concept is, and I agree with Trustee Cabelli that maybe the stakeholders can give us a better understanding of what their daily operation will be like.
Sure, and, you know, that's not a problem. This was unfortunately a conflict just for today's date. When is the next meeting that we'd be able to present?
It would be May 2nd, or go to May 16th, probably.
Village staff will work with you on the date.
Is everybody in agreement that table this for now?
Absolutely. I think we need more information.
So we need a motion
We need
to
a motion.
table.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to table this
Second.
to May 2nd, or to further date whenever we get the paperwork done.
Roll call, please.
Second.
Yes.
That was,
Osler. Kraus,
Yes.
Cosler,
yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes,
Dudek.
Yes.
Can we do that again for item 3, too, just so we can
Oh, yeah.
address them both?
I'll make a motion to table that.
I'll second that.
We have that, Nancy? Okay. Roll call, please.
McAlpine,
Yes,
Kraus,
Yes.
Dudek,
Yes.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Cosler,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so we'll table it. You'll be in touch with, or Brian will probably be in touch with you as to where, and if we can get an address of what their existing location is,
Absolutely.
I'd like to pass that along to board members and see if that's something they'd like to take a look
Okay.
at.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it all.
Administrator's report, Jacob?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to give the board a quick update on Meyer Material and Lafarge. They have started their dredging operation on site. Want to work with Meyer Material and Lafarge folks to see if they're able to accommodate a field trip out there for any village board members that want to see the dredge operating here. So we're going to be coordinating with them on that and circle back with the village board about some possible dates for anyone that's interested. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, do you have anything for us?
It was on the consent agenda, but I just want to remind everyone that the Cary Grove Youth Baseball Softball Association is going to have their annual opening day parade on Saturday. Just two things. Number one, attend the parade, but number two, it's going to impede traffic on Main Street for a little bit.
Thank you, Chief.
As long as there's good weather, right? Yeah.
Eric?
Thank you. Just two updates from Public Works. Next week, which is the week of April 24th, is the beginning of spring cleanup. So the outreach has been out and the signs are posted out on the entry signs on the various highways. And residents can be reminded to take advantage of the service from Advanced Disposal to take care of some clutter that's been piling up, and feel free to look at the website for parameters on the program. And then secondly, beginning the week of May 1st, we have our spring session of our brush cleanup. So that would be the curbside brush pickup for residents. So they're able to get rid of some of the tree branches and so forth. Again, look at the website for details. The parameters are identical to the past years.
Thank you, Eric. Brian, do you have anything for us? Thank you. Any future
I do.
agenda? Any future agenda items or discussion by the village board?
I have a question for Brian. And maybe Jake knows, have we talked to the folks over on Krenz? Is the sign in the right place? Does it need to be moved?
Yes, we have followed up with them. The marks that you may have seen out there, residents may have seen were Julie locates that we had, but all the signs are in the right spots.
Okay. And did you try and move a vehicle out of their driveway? You got about a 4-inch egress to get out of that driveway. 4 inches. That's not much. So that's fine. I mean, I told them that there's state of Illinois laws regarding the regulated distance from an intersection, and I'm sure that we followed that. I just wanted to make sure that we had done that. And then the second thing was, are we going to talk, or did we already, about the Memorial Day parade?
We had not talked about that.
All right. Eric, you got a request, and we'll have equipment in there, or Chief?
Chief is coming to the microphone.
Yes, we did receive a application for Memorial Day Parade. I'm working on that now. There's a couple of things in there that I have to talk to Mr. Young about, particularly a request to close Route 14, which I don't think we're going to be doing. We've never done that in the past, so I just want to clarify it. But other than that, yes, we've received that parade request.
Okay, great. Can we publish that on the website, Jake, and maybe send that out in our next Friday thing? It's coming up quick.
Absolutely.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else?
I'd just like to have with the new board coming on board, I'd like to have a meeting, discussion regarding the meeting times. I'd like to revisit that with the new board.
Okay, like the May 2nd, or do you want
We
May
can do
16th?
the one after that, yeah.
Thank you. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do you want to roll right into the committee meeting, or you want to take a couple-minute break? This is something new for us. Forgot to mention, we've kind of flip-flopped our meetings a little bit. This time, we're going to see how this works. Our village board meetings start at 6 o'clock with our committee of the whole immediately following, so there won't be a lag, because we've had some things where there's been could be a 45-minute lag between meetings. So in order to be a little bit more conscious of people's times, we flipped the village board meeting so that the petitioners that are seeking an approval can get out, and the people that are seeking insight will be able to have a little bit